Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Gita series. Freedom from pains and miseries to happy, healthy and peaceful life. Based upon 108 mantras to awaken your soul and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. My questions and God's answers. And today our series is starting number 85. Know the supreme goal of your life. How would I know the supreme goal of my life? That's the subject is going to be covered today. So pranam to Hariharji Maharaj, Guruji, for his blessings, his guidance. I'm Satya Kalra, your host for the session and founder of Path to Anandam, the blissful living. How to go beyond miseries from Vishad and live the anger-free life, worry-free life, resentment-free life, and enjoy day-to-day life. Whatever you see on this page, all these #1 bestsellers on Amazon, these are all guidance from Guruji. And with his blessings, these sessions are being conducted, and also the one-to-one counseling to different organizations, and mainly the practicing of Bhagavad Gita. So welcome to all of you again, and thank you, Guruji, for your blessing, and Bhagwan Krishnaji, with his blessing, we are all here together. And today's series is starting from chapter 15. We will try to cover verse 1 to 4. This is the most important chapter in Bhagavad Gita, and we will talk about why. And it's a beautiful analogy is given with cosmic tree and banyan tree. How is this tree being nourished? What it impacts our life? How it takes us to lower and higher self? And how to go from lower self to higher self? Benefits, practice, and homework. And our sankalpa here is, my goal is self-realization. Experience the blessing, the presence of God Almighty, and meditation and question and answers if there are any. So let's all pray to Bhagwanji for his guidance, because we are the Arjuna today who get confused, depressed, worried, fearful, and start justifying our points without listening to Lord Krishna's voice, Almighty's voice. So let's pray to him for his blessings and uplifting us. Karpanye dosho pahate svabhava prashyami tvam dharma samurcheta yachase syani nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam. Arjuna said, my heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all my composure, and my mind is confused about my duty, my dharma. I'm requesting you to tell me what is definitely good for me, not what am I asking from you. We should always remember that what is good for me. And that's what we should pray and ask for. I am your disciple. I surrender to you. Please instruct me.
Good. Want to touch your toes?
So as Arjuna was so confused, though Bhagwan Krishna asked him to get engaged in this Dharm Kshetra, but Arjuna thought it was Kurukshetra, only the field of action where he's going to fight with his near and dear ones. And he did not want to get engaged into that war. And after listening to, receiving the blessing in the form of Bhagavad Gita, he transformed himself. He was transformed. And he said, I do as you advise. Karishye vachanam tam. So as Arjuna went on that blissful journey for self-purification and transformation and uplifted himself. In other words, he uplifted his conscious level. So let's all embark on that beautiful journey together and experience that I am no different than Paramatma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Satchit Ananda. So these are the quotes put together from Hariharji Maharaj, where Arjuna, the student, and his divine company, conversation was going on. And the Gita, the infinite wisdom, is a step-by-step spiritual instruction manual to live righteously. It teaches us how to know the supreme goal of our life. It means how to attain the eternal happiness, peace, oneness, and reach to Param Dham. In other words, realize, who am I? I am Satchit Ananda. And not while end of the life, but while living in this material world and beyond. Hariharji Maharaj. So this blissful journey from lower self to higher self through knowing supreme power. These 574 verses spoken by Lord Krishna out of 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita. 18 chapters, 3 yogas, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. So first 6 chapters were focused how to experience and go beyond miseries with karma yoga, be a karma yogi. Then next 6 chapters from 7 to 12, goal was same, how to experience that blissful blessing from Lord Krishna, from Almighty, by knowing that's Vasudev Sarvam Iti, and how can we serve him. So here, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is joined. So do your action for the benefit of all, with love and compassion, with wisdom. And we are talking about that wisdom part. So that wisdom which is called Jnana Yoga, true knowledge that starts from chapter 13 and goes up to 18. We covered the chapter 13, and some of them you might have missed it. So it is all posted on YouTube channel, Satya Kalra YouTube channel. we covered in chapter 13, creator and creation, prakriti and prakriti ko banane wala. Then three gunas, what this prakriti is made of, what are we made of? This triguni maya, tamsic, rajasic, sattvic, and everything in the creation is made with that. Every situation, every material things, anything and everything you think about have a three forms: bad, in the middle, and good. So bad, good, and mix. And then now we are on chapter 15. Know the Supreme Personality. So chapter 15, Purushottam Yoga now. The path of realizing God as the Supreme Self. He is the best of the best. Even though we study, we learn in chapter 10, in his Vibhuti, that anything you see in this world, the best of the best, that's him. But here specifically he says, as a Purush, Purush does not mean as a person, but Purush means as a you and I, we are all Purush because we have an Atma within us. But he is a Purushottama. He is the best of the best of all. So how to know that? By going from our lower self, means our this limited information, limited buddhi, limited mind, to higher self, supreme self. And higher self means Satchit Ananda. So this chapter 15, I call it's a little bit difficult chapter to understand. However, I try to make it as simple as possible. So I call this is as a, until now, I would call it was a college level, but now we are at the PhD level. So union with God, self-realization through the path of realizing God as the supreme self, path of transcending from lower self to higher self, where you can see how lower self goes to higher self. And he just suggests, Lord Krishna speaks about the key is the detachment and how to get rid of it. And he gives a beautiful analogy of this cosmic tree. But prior to that, I just want to go over what we have studied until now from the previous chapter 14, the very last words, because it's very, very important to connect that one now moving on, because chapter 13 to 18, Gyan Yoga, Knowledge Yoga, Wisdom Yoga, is so important to understand it. It links that first, what is creator and what is creation, Prakriti, our body. Then we learn what we are made with, three gunas. But in other words, these are the three gunas are the limitations which we have incurred from many, many lives, and our aptitude, our behavior, all depends on the gunas. And here we talked about that how to go beyond gunas, how to become gunatit. And Lord Krishna says, Mam cha yo abhi cha, is qualified. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is qualified to come to the level of Brahman, the supreme power, the higher self, God, Nirvana, whatever you want to name it. There are many, many different terminologies for this. But Brahman is the topmost terminology which comes from Vedanta. So it is a nirakar, But the tamasic, which is a very bad situation, which is, it is called ignorance, animal level. And go beyond that is, next level is rasic, which is the middle, passion, which we are, most of us are in that category. And then the sattvic level, the purity of the mind, the goodness. So one has to lift from one and tamasic to rasic to sattvic. How? With love and devotion, doing the service for me, in other words, selfless service. Then one can become gunatit, in other words, Narse Narayan, man to God. And Nistray Guna Bhav Arjun, this is the advice, very first advice which Lord Krishna has given to Arjuna. And here, again, he's further explaining how to do that. So now we will embark on chapter 15. As many saints, Guruji used to say, once you understand this chapter, you don't need to understand anything else. It will answer every question what you might have. And it's not just in chapter 12. He always asked you to recite chapter 12, but wherever there was a time, he says, now recite chapter 15. So chapter 15 is the beautiful journey from the lower self to higher self. And it starts with giving the metaphor, analogy with this tree, Banyan tree or Ashwatham. So here it says, Urdhvam Moolam Shakham Ashwatham Prahurvayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedsa Vedvit. He said the creation, this universe, resembles the entire tree, like a banyan tree, people ka tree. But it is called Ashwatham. Why it is called Ashwatha? Because A means no, and Ashwatha means tomorrow, means there is no tomorrow, everything is changing. Basically, everything is changing, but it looks imperishable, it looks permanent. Like this world, though we know everything is temporary, keep changing, nothing lasts from yesterday to today, from this moment to next moment. But we think that is the reality. And this is what he's trying to explain. And further he says that has its roots above in the supreme being. This root is this tree is upside down kind. You can see the roots are down. Usually the tree is roots are lower. But here you look at the roots are coming from the above. And it's why it is coming from up? Because it is coming from supreme power. The roots are coming from supreme power. Everything is coming from supreme power. So that's why it is also known as imperishable tree. And it is a cosmic tree. But comparing with the people ka tree, banyan tree, and I'm sure we have all seen that. This is how it looks like. And you can see, here he explains that the middle here, the one who fully understands the nature of this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Why? Because each leaf when you see here is the Vedas. That's what it says, Vedsa Vedvid. The person who understands this tree, whose every leaf is Vedas. Why it is calling the Vedas? Because it is a hymn. Every leaf is a mantra. It's a cosmic energy. As a tree is beautiful only when there are leaves. If there are no leaves, even though there might be some flower, because some of the trees have flowers without leaves, but they still look like very dry, dead trees. But the beauty of the tree is with leaves, with these Vedas. So once who understand that these roots, which are coming down, takes us to lower self. Means all the worries, all the fears, all the vishad lies in the lower self when we are in a very low conscious level. Here, the highest part of the tree is Brahman. And the stem of the tree is Brahma. So if somebody has a question, what is the difference between Brahman and Brahma? Brahma is the one who created the world. Like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, these are the three murtis. But Brahman is highest of the highest. Everything comes from Brahman. And then this Brahman, what is this come from Brahman? We will explain in next slide. Actually, here we can go to next verse. Here it says, Adascho Darvam, Prastastasya Shakha, Guna Pravarda Vishya Vishala, Adascha Mulyan Anusantantani Karmanu Bandini Manushya Loke. The branches of the cosmic tree are spread all over the cosmos, up and down. So these leaves, these branches are everywhere. And these are coming in the form of roots everywhere. You can't, if you look at the people tree or real banyan tree, big banyan tree, you would not know where it is starting, where it is ending. The roots are coming from up and down and everywhere. And that's what it says. It is spread and everywhere. And similarly, if you look at this word, do we understand? We don't understand where it starts, where it ends. Someday it's a good weather, someday it's a high temperature, someday it's a low temperature. Though people say it's a all the warming thing, global warming, all the sciences behind it. But science is trying to figure it out. But no one understands that. Why? Because it is made with this Triguni Maya. That's why it says spread up and down. And who nourishes it? The tree is nourished from the soil. But who nourishes this cosmos? Who nourishes our body? Because we are a part of Prakriti. Our Gunas. As mentioned, our Gunas dictates our behavior. In other words, here it says, the senses, objects, pleasures are births and roots of ego and desires stretch downward into the world of man, binding the soul to their karmas and causing karmic bondage, birth and death. So here it's talking about, we are here in the gunas. Here you can see it. These are the gunas. Just a Brahman means Prakriti. He gives the birth to, he makes a Prakriti. Our body, he is the creator of all of our, this Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is made with gunas. So we are made with gunas. So what happens with the tamasic, rajasic, sattvic? Our behavior changes. And with our desire, and how it changes, what it influences our senses. That's why it says the birds are in the senses. In other words, if I have a desire to eat something, my passion, my guna, the rajasic nature will drive me to that particular food. If I want to see something, want to see some movie or some show or something, that's my passion. I wanted that one. I want to hear something. Maybe some good music, good programs, or maybe gossip, whatever. I want to speak something. So whatever our senses are, our eyes are looking, our senses are feeling, it's giving birth to desires. I want this thing. I want these wants come from desires. So these senses influence our behavior. And If I want something, I see something, I want something, I work for it. If I want to eat something, my tongue wants something, then what would happen? I whether buy that food or I go to my refrigerator and open it and eat it. That's the action. But if I'm not supposed to eat that thing, and if it gives me a heartburn, that's the effect of it. So cause and effect of my desire, my tongue, my senses, and then it takes me to cause and effect up and down of this birth and death. Yo-yo game over and over. Why we are in this yo-yo game of birth and death? Because based on our gunas, our behaviors, our desires, our actions, and then action and reaction, cause and effect. But Lord Krishna gives a tip here, which is, and other thing is, one more thing is here. Here he says the one who fully understands the nature of this tree is the knower of the Vedas. You know, who is the knower of the Vedas? Where the Vedas come from? Who is the knower? We say Ved Vyasji. His name is Ved Vyasji. And we say, okay, Ved Vyasji has written those Vedas. But where did they come from? From supreme power, because in one of the verse, we will talk about later on in verse 15th of this chapter, he says, I am the Vedas. Vedas come from me. So here he says, the one who fully understands the nature of this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Means one becomes equal to God, because that person becomes understand Vedas. And understanding Vedas, and whole Bhagavad Gita is the summary of Upanishad and Vedas. So if we understand, Lord Krishna says, you become like me, Narse Narayan. So there are so many ways he explains how we can uplift ourselves and reach to the highest level. So here he explains, focus is on supreme goal of life. But again, here you look at the Brahman. I put the different form of this tree here. Brahman. Brahman means supreme power. From supreme power, this Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh come. Triguni Murtis, they come. These, and then one of them is Brahma. So Shivlok, this is called the Shivlok. Here is also, here it says, Narupam isne tatho palapte. Nanto na chadina na cha sampratishta. Ashvatham menam suvirur moolam asang shastren dranen chitva. The real form of the tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. For example, where did we come from? From our parents. Where did they come from? Our grandparents. Where did they come from? Great-grandparents. So you can keep going back and back and back to our ancestors. And we can't find the end to it. And we can go to millions of years and we can say, okay, their parent, but we cannot find the end of it. And that's where he's explaining where it begins and where its foundation is. However, this firmly rooted tree can be cut down with the strong axe of non-attachment. What he means also that we are made with this Triguni Maya. We have incurred our Swabhava, our nature, with these desires and gunas and bondage. These are our karmic bondage. That's where we are here, birth and death, birth and death. Now, how can we go beyond it? Here you can see it. We are in the lower self. How could we go beyond it? He says, only one thing, non-attachment, detachment. Detachment does not mean that we have to give up our family life, our our body needs, and leave the world and just live in ashrams. It's good to live in ashram. That's the blessing one can get. But if not, in this world, we can also learn how to be detached. For example, we should have our family, but how can we detach ourselves? Rather than attaching and expecting from them, just have a simple selfless service with love and compassion to them. Whatever we do for them, we should not do, why do I have to do it? Just do it with love and compassion for them. That's a non-detachment. I'm not doing it for anything expecting from them. I'm doing it just because this is non-detachment. I need to have my body's need, but if I become too greedy and get into anger, like there is beautiful verse, and that's my favorite verse, because that's the cause of our miseries. It tells us how we get into the miseries. Chapter 2, verse 62, 63. Dhyayato vishan punsa, sangasteshu upjayate, sanga sanjayate kama, kama krodho vijayate. Krodhas bhavti sammoha, sammoha smriti vibhrama, smriti vibhrat buddhi nasha pranshati. Where do we lose? Where do we forget that I'm just a lower self, chintaye, and all that vishad, because we are overpowered by greed, by our ego, I-ness, minus, all that. So now, where Lord Krishna gives another, here he gives us, now it's a non-detachment. But how to do it? And he says, Tat padam tat parimargitam, yasmin gata na nirvantanti bhuya, tamev chadyam purusham, prapadde yat, pravarti prasuta purani. Then one must have the supreme goal. Here comes the supreme goal. And seek to attain that supreme state, the highest level. That's what our goal should be, where one does not return. Here it says, na nirvantanti bhuya, means one does not come back again and again in this world. That's what our goal should be. And the prayers must be, I surrender to that supreme being, supreme Paramatma, prime Purushottam, Uttam Purushottama, from whom the creation has emanated since ancient times. So self-realization must be the goal of our life, and the surrender is the key. So the true purpose of our life is how to go from lower self to our higher self, man to God, experiencing Satchit Ananda, is two things: detachment and surrender. Do everything to serve his creation and use our free will to serve him. So the practice is here. Practice detachment and sakshi. And the supreme goal of life again is liberation, oneness, going to Paramdham. And our daily spiritual planner of self-transformation is here. So again, Vasudev Sarvam Iti, God is everything. And then Bhagwan also says, Aham Sarvya Prabhavan. Aham Sarva Prabhavan means everything originates from me. So practice in the morning. Start your day with mantras, with meditation, with yogas, reading Bhagavad Gita. And then during the day, take a 1 point, whatever you are having difficulty overcoming. Practice. But how? Live in awareness of gunas. Which guna is overpowering me? Which passion, which tamasic nature is taking me up? And then lead to the detachment. And then the action will come. And through that action, we can go from ignorance to passion to sattvic, because we can uplift ourselves By practicing goodness, we can purify ourselves, we can transform ourselves. But the key here is surrender, 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 and then we qualified, we can experience who we are. I'm a Satchit Anand. I live in peace, I live happily, and of course, I am beyond birth and death. What does birth and death means? Miseries, sorrows and miseries and pain of every day of life, and also beyond this life. And we experience Brahman. So from Brahma to Brahman, self-realization, and I am Satchit Ananda. So practice that, live in that awareness, and at the end of the day, just evaluate our practices. And again, beautiful verse, Sarva Dharman Paritajya Mamekam Sharanam Braj. Aham Tvam Sarpapebhyo Mokshashyami Mashuti. Saying you surrender to me, I will take care of rest of your things. So do not worry about it. So homework time, again. Very first thing, we have to live in awareness and ask myself, ask yourself, self-inquiry. This is a practice what we need to do. Do I have my supreme goal of my life, self-realization, oneness? Do I live in awareness and observe my behavior like a Sakshi here? What am I attached to? Make a list of the things. This non-detachment is a continuous practice. Make a list. What are the things I'm passionate about it? What are the things are coming in my way to reach to the higher self, to experience more eternal happiness and peace? What is bothering me? Why am I in this yo-yo game? So we must pay attention to our behavior and make a list of it and work one thing at a time. And then the question is, do I surrender? Spiritual practices, meditation, mindfulness. So self-inquiry is only path for self-improvement and reach higher self. So once you practice to transcend witness and oneness, you become virtuous divine. You qualified to reach to the oneness. And again, this verse is going to last until everybody remembers from Swami Vivekananda. Rise, awake, and stop, not till the goal is reached. I put this picture again. Everything starts upside down tree. Can you see that? All of our problems start from mind. That's the root cause of it. And then it spreads in every part of our body. And if we replace it with the mantras, otherwise miseries and griefs and pains will be there. And see, it has taken over and over and over. It can take us to lower self, or by non-detachment and surrender, we can uplift ourselves. So our sankalpa is, I am detached. I surrender. So once we do that with the sankalpa prabhavan, once we, with the prabhav, with the effect of sankalpa, little by little, shanai shanai uppar mein, we will be transformed, our buddhi will be transformed. But the main condition is we should be focused, just like Arjuna, who was focused just on the eye of moving fish. And then he succeeded. So we have to focus our eye on the purpose of life, self-realization, experiencing ultimate happiness, healthy and peaceful life. So we live happily, healthy and peaceful life. So self-realization is the impact of it. We will automatically get it. But it requires a lot of practice. It's not just the self. Like a rabbit jumps, it's not a quick fix. That's why it says, Shanai Shanai Uppar Mein, little by little. Once we practice, we put this seed in our mind that our goal of life is self-realization, then that seed will sprout, and little by little it will bear the flowers and fruits. So studying Bhagavad Gita is the key here, or any scriptures which resonates with you, but we should be connected to these Vedas, because Vedas makes us like God. So thank you very much for attending. How to become like God. Again, I emphasize this, even though this topic was last week, but how to become like God, Brahmasmi. In other words, how can I become just like supreme power? How can I qualify to merge? And once we have that goal, we feel less and less our pains and miseries, and we are free from pains and miseries and reach to happy, healthy, and peaceful life. So thank you very much.